Want to stay consistent on social media and be able to post, have the time to post, this is what you need to do. Hi, my name is Jorge, and if you're new here, I'm a content marketing strategist and I help businesses create content that gets leads, which can lead to business. We've been going through a series answering the question, what if I wanted to shoot more content, create more content, but I didn't have the time to do it. And so we've talked about different things: batch shooting, recording podcasts. We've even talked about habit stacking, which is actually a really good hack that can help you to successfully show up if you attach a new habit to an existing one. But today I want to talk to you, I want to get a little bit more personal. And I want to talk to you about one of the reasons why a lot of people don't stay consistent and don't have time for their content. And that is they don't have a clear why. What does that mean? It means that they don't have a clear reason that is compelling enough to to motivate them to do what they need to do. And I say that because I'd say 90% of the time when I'm working with a client and they have a hard time actually making the time, or they have a hard time actually creating the content, it's because they don't have a big enough why and a clear why. Now, what do I mean by that is your desire to create content has to transcend simply, I want to make more money. It has to go beyond that. And it has to go beyond that because sometimes you're going to make a lot of money because content compounds. And for some time it may be that your content is not performing as well, as not getting you the leads that you want, and then all of a sudden you're going to see that result, and we see that over and over again. And then your content starts generating those results. Are you going to stop making the content now that you have the money that you wanted to have? It has to be bigger than, I just want more money. It's got to be deeper than that. It's got to be more meaningful than that, because motivation is going to come and go. The reasons that you're pursuing an endeavor are going to come and go, and if you don't have a very powerful, very compelling why, then it won't you won't be able to have that stay with it energy, that stay with it force that you need. And I want you to be successful. The tips that I've given you are things that I've done. They're things that I've put into practice. They're things that have helped me to stay consistent, that have me to help me to do the things that I need to do in order to be able to create content at a very consistent rate, not just for myself, but also for my clients. And I work with a lot of very busy people. And those very busy people make the time. And because here's the thing, right? That's the number one excuse. Well, I don't have the time, right? Well, maybe you haven't made time, because the things that matter the most are things that we make time for. And so you have to make time for it. And it's like that saying goes, whenever you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. Whenever you're saying no to something, you're saying yes to something else. And so you're choosing one thing over another, and not making a choice is a choice. And so sometimes we haven't audited our calendars, we haven't audited our schedules, so we don't know whether or not we actually have the time, or if we're just making up an excuse. And that's why it's so important to know your why, right? Daily examination is a very important thing. It's very important to have a big picture. So I have a graphic for you here that I'm going to show you, and to be able to illustrate this topic here. But you know, you have to look in the mirror. and you've got to dig deep and ask yourself the question, why do I actually want to do this? Why do I want to make content? Why do I think that this is the way to go? And the reality is that if you have the money to run Facebook ads and you can spend $3,000 to $6,000 a month on ad spend, you're going to do great. Your business is going to have unlimited leads and you're going to be able to get the customers that you want. You're going to be able to run the ads that you want to run. It's going to be great. But if you don't have that kind of capital, then you need to make content. And it's a simple formula, right? It's the 100 100 100 from Hermosi, right? You spend $100 a day on ads, or you spend 100 minutes a day creating content and posting it. And so if you don't have the $100 a day, then you're going to do 100 pieces of content, 100 minutes of content creation every single day, right? And the other one is the 100 outreaches, which is, reach out to 100 people every single day. So the idea is you need to have some form of acquisition of new clients. There's got to be a way that you are reaching out and touching new clients and reaching out to them. All right. So when it comes to content, your why is going to transcend your situation. Your why is going to transcend your feelings and your mood that particular day. Your why is going to transcend anything that happens that particular occasion. You have to have a clear why. When I started my business, I wanted to be able to help people, because at the end of the day, businesses are owned by people, right? I wanted to help people who had struggled getting their message out there. They had a good product, they had a good service, but they weren't able to get it out there as readily. That's how I felt. I had a service, I had a solution. I could provide a solution. I could help actual people, but they didn't know that I existed. And because they didn't know that I existed, it wasn't anything wrong with them. It wasn't anything wrong with the person that I wanted to work with. There was it was just a simple communication error. I was not making them aware that I even existed, and therefore they could not select my service over another simply because they didn't know that my service was available. And so the reason why I help local businesses with this particular solution is because I know what that's like. I know what it feels like to be frustrated because you want to provide a service. You can actually help people, but they don't know that you exist. And a lot of the times, people are getting solutions from others who may not be providing the best service. They may not be as good as you are. You could actually help your ideal client, your potential customer, in a much better way than the people that they are working with. But because they don't know that you exist, they can't choose you. And so I was motivated from the beginning to help businesses and people reach those that they wanted to reach because they had a good solution that could actually help. It's a service. It's an actual service. I'm helping people with good service help those around them. That's how we make community better. But it's a deeper reason than just I need to make money, or I'm making enough money, I don't need to make any more, so I'm not going to make any more content, because things will get hard. Times will get hard. Are you going to stop making content when things get hard? Are you going to stop making content when you've made all the money that you wanted to make? Like, you're going to keep doing it if you're doing it for the right reason. And trust me, things will arise. Trouble is not an if, it's a when. I think about one of the first quotes that I learned as a business owner that I didn't believe initially when I first learned about it. They said, "This is going to take you longer than you think, it's going to be harder than you think, and it's going to cost more than you think." And I would shake my head at that. I'm like, "Pfft, whatever, you know? I can do this. I can do this faster. I can do this cheaper. I can do this sooner than anyone else. And yet, it wasn't like that. There was a lot of struggle. There is a lot of struggle every day, every week. Things happen, things come up, and it's so challenging. But you make the content so that you can you can reach people, so that you can help people, so that they can have the solution that they need, and we make this world a better place. A plumbing service can make this world a better place. An electrician can make this world a better place. A marketing agency can make this world a better place because we're helping each other with the skills that we have. I have this skill. I have the skill of making content, and I have the skill of strategy analysis. I have the skill of actually liking. I don't know if you'd call that a skill, but I like digging through data and studying analytics and seeing what is working, what's not. And that's something that you may not like doing. You may find that that's something very cumbersome for you, and that's when somebody like me steps in and says, hey, man, I enjoy this. I love looking at analytics and the numbers that a platform is producing that is telling us what people like and what people don't like. And so, um, I'd say that this doesn't sound like a hack. Like, it doesn't sound like a hack. I get it. It doesn't sound like a hack to say you've got to know your why, because it sounds more like a hack to say, you know, uh, do habit stacking. Like, that sounds more like a hack. But this is deep work. Like, this is work that requires you to sit down and ask yourself the question over and over again until you've clarified why you really want to do this. And that's not easy work. It's not as easy as habit stacking. And so, if you really want to succeed and you want to create content on a repeatable, predictable cadence that gets you the right exposure in front of the right audience, then you need to have a very clear reason as to why you're doing this. And then that reason should be written down somewhere, because that's what's going to help you when you're missing motivation, when you're sleepy because you haven't slept well, when you're stressed because the client's canceled, when you need to make payroll by the end of the week. Heck, when you need to get paid yourself by the end of the week because there's no other income coming in. There's got to be a bigger reason. And that is what's going to drive you to do what you need to do. So maybe for you, that reason is something like, I want to help make the world a better place. Kind of like what I said. Maybe that reason for you is, I want to make sure that my family doesn't go hungry. I want to make sure that we create a lifestyle that we don't want to take a vacation from. Or I want to make sure that we can take vacations at least once a year, moving forward. Like, it's got to be a big why. And the bigger the why, the more staying power it'll have to help you successfully navigate all of the challenges that will arise. And they will. Challenges will arise. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. So clarify your why. I'll tell you this right now. Like, I have ADHD, and I'm not always motivated. I have cycles, like energy cycles, where I'm really energetic and I'm really excited. And starting something new is always very exciting, right? Initially, it's so exciting and I want to do it and I can't think of anything else. But then I have low cycles. I have days where I'm just down, I'm just low, and I'm in a depressive mood, right? I haven't slept well, and that catches up to me eventually, even though I need very little sleep, but it does catch up to me. And So those days you need something more, where a cup of coffee isn't enough, where you've eaten your food, you've done the things, but it's just not enough. You can't stop craving things that are not good for you. I mean, it's just, there's so many things that come up, and then life happens, right? Life happens. So knowing why you do what you do and having a very clear why, having a very big why, something that is, you know uh, that really drives you, that gives you the staying power to stay consistent and to make it easy, because otherwise you just won't make the time, because there are other things that are going to come up, there are other priorities that are going to arise. And fine, some things are priorities, emergencies do happen. I'm not saying that they don't, and I'm not saying that emergencies don't come up, but when you have a clear why, then you'll make the time for it, you know so, like these lives, I was supposed to go live, let's say Wednesday. That was my plan, but something happened, and I got bogged down, and I couldn't do it. So I'm going live today. And I was supposed to go live earlier, but I didn't do it. So like the point is that I carved out time, even though things came up. I carved out time to do the thing because it was beneficial to do. Why did I carve out the time? Why did I find it necessary to carve out the time? Because my why is big. So have a clear why, have a big why, and then you'll be able to stay consistent. You'll be able to create content. You'll be able to make time for it whenever you need to. And you won't keep running away from it. And the reality is, y'all, look, making content isn't easy. It's not easy. Like it's 90% of the people that I work with will freeze in front of the camera or will run away from it, even though they've paid for it. Like they've paid for it. They've done what they need to do. They've asked for this, and they'll run away from the camera because it's scary. It's scary because you feel like you're putting yourself out there, and a rejection of a video that you create, you feel like it's rejection of yourself, and then you've got to do all of this like inner work that just comes up as a result of making the content. You start noticing things that you hadn't noticed before. Like I have a receding hairline. I hadn't noticed that before. I was making content regularly. It's like, oh man, I don't look as young as I used to look. I'm not as thin as I used to be. I'm not, whatever it is. Like, the sun has damaged my skin, or I have more wrinkles in my, and like, it's always these things that come up because content creation is not the easiest thing, right? And, just to give you a little bit of an objection overcome there, the reality is that the internet doesn't care what you look like if you provide value. I needed to replace, I needed to fix the my sink one time. I needed to replace the knobs and some of the tubing that went under there. I didn't know how to do that, and so I looked it up on YouTube. I can't tell you what the guy looked like. I can't tell you what his voice sounded like. I can't tell you if he was overweight or if he was in shape. I can't tell you what he was wearing. I don't know. I don't remember at all. I just know that I had a problem. My sink, the faucet thing needed to be replaced, and I was able to replace that fixture. I was able to do it because of a video that I saw, that I watched on YouTube. And so the reality is that I'm sure you have a story like that where you needed to get something done, you went on YouTube, you got it done, and it didn't matter who it was that was walking you through it, because what mattered was the result. People want the result. And so, you know, navigating through those things can be emotional, and I get that. I can relate to that, right? It can be an emotional endeavor. I I feel self-conscious. I'm afraid of what people will say, and it's usually like one person, right? Like it's usually like one person that you're afraid of. You're afraid of of uh, Timmy from high school is going to watch this video, and they knew me back then, and they don't know the journey that I've gone on in order to become this expert, or to become this solution, or to create this product and this solution, right? Timmy doesn't know that. So Timmy's going to look at my video and they're going to judge me, and they're going to be harsh, and they're going to be, they're going to call me out. Who do you think you are? And guess what? Listen, Timmy may not even see the video because the algorithm is going to bury it initially, right? Timmy may not even be watching. Timmy has his own insecurities. Timmy could be in the same boat as you right now and is feeling left behind, is going to see your stuff and is going to feel like, man, this guy has it all together. And here I haven't accomplished much with my life, right? Like, we admire people from afar and think that those people are looking down on us. And it's very possible that they're not. They're feeling insecure about their own stuff, And so, whoever it is that you have in mind, that you think about when you think of, I'm afraid to do this because of, and then that one person is the one that comes to mind. You're not doing it for them. You have to know your why. Why will transcend Timmy. It'll transcend Timmy because there's 100 million Timmys, and and who cares? Who cares what Timmy does or doesn't do? Who cares what Timmy says or doesn't say? I've had some mean comments on my videos, on my posts. I joke about it, I reply, and I keep it moving because at the end of the day, I know my why. So, those things will come. People will be mean sometimes online. People will be disagreeable online. People will argue with you, sometimes for no reason. Sometimes it's not, they have no reason to disagree with you or to argue with you. They're doing it because they feel some kind of validation when they bring up a counterpoint for you online. They feel better about themselves. And so, you know, it can't be that I don't progress in my business because of Timmy from high school. You know, they can't be the reason that holds me back. We've got to have some bravado, right? Some of that killer instinct needs to show up, so that we face this thing, right? We're going through. That's my saying. That's been my saying for years. We're going through, and I posted about that on my stories today because I'm like, something that I heard when I was a kid. It's like when you come up to a mountain, you can go over it. If you can't go over it, go around it. If you can't go around it, then go under it. And if you can't go under, then go through. But what you can't do is stand in front of it. You're not just going to stand in front of it wondering what, like, nah, man, take action. Take action. Even imperfect action is better than no action, because as you take action, you're going to be learning. As you take action, you're going to be developing skills. As you take action, you're going to be finding out problems that you didn't know were even exist, like that were non-existent to you before. You weren't aware of them, and they're going to become very clear to you. You're going to be able to mitigate them, right? It's very possible that the objective will change because you thought the problem was one thing, but it ends up being something else. So, knowing your why is what gives you that umph. It's what gives you that strength. It's what gives you that power to move forward even when you don't feel like it. So, not as hacky of a tip today, but definitely, I believe, extremely helpful. So, give it a try. What's your why? Put it in the comment section below. I will uh, definitely read every single comment and reply to them. So, have a great weekend. I'll see you in the, and if you're watching this when it's not on the weekend, have a great day. I'll see you in the next one.